Howdy everyone and welcome in. It is really late on Friday night and this video is going to air tomorrow on Saturday. I had a video planned and I had a video ready to upload and release, and guess what? I just didn't like it, the control freak that I am. So I'd like to welcome you all in, and yes, I'm recording this right after my live feed with Jeremy on Bully Run Coffee. It was a fantastic live. We had great questions. We had a great chat with all of you, and we really do appreciate you for tuning into both of our channels now and sending us an awful lot of love. So what this video is going to be about is spur of the moment. I decided to dig deep and talk about a time period that I have a great affection for, which is the Edwardian / Art Nouveau time period. And as I settle in and kind of breathe deeper, it's because the box of treasures that I'm going to bring to you in just a couple moments is truly extraordinary. I've had a love affair with the time period between 1900 and 1915 for as long as I can remember. I don't know exactly how to put into human words why I have such an attraction to the Titanic era and the rare survivors of the jewelry of that specific time period. It's getting increasingly difficult to find. Prices are through the roof. And for some of the best examples, you're gonna, you're gonna have to go to museums to see them. They just don't exist in private hands anymore. So I want to share some of my most favorite. It's not all inclusive. Some of the pieces you've seen before, and the vast majority you haven't seen before. Also, coming up in a very important video, I kind of don't know how to go about this video, and in a year and, In a year and almost a half on YouTube, I don't want to correct anyone. It's not my place to correct people. It's not the intention of my channel, but there's some information that's out there that isn't accurate on Bakelite. And what I'd like to do in this coming video is not be angry, not be frustrated, and all I've been is angry and frustrated for like the last 3 weeks of some of the videos that I've seen and some of the misinformation on Bakelite. You might ask yourself, why are you frustrated? Well, I'm frustrated because it's costing people hard-earned money. And when you're gonna buy something very expensive, such as these Bakelite bracelets, which are all authentic, and random dots and bow ties in black and cream, if you're gonna spend $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 on a bangle bracelet as an investment, because that's what they're worth, you have to know you're getting what you pay for. And you can't just regurgitate information off of, I don't care where it sells, eBay, Etsy, Ruby Lane, I don't care what site it sells on. You can't just regurgitate that information and call it a research video if it's not. If you're just regurgitating information that's not accurate, that's highly problematic. I'm going to solve that in one of my videos on the way I've collected Bakelite and constructed my collection. I want to come from a place of kindness and goodness, and I want people to understand it's not my job to correct anyone. But if I see misinformation and if I see someone pointing at an eBay listing and go, that's a great sale for $800, and it's not a great sale for $800, I'm going to call it out. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going to come from a place of peace and kindness to make sure that I don't lose anyone and to make sure that people understand that I am going to be kind, but I'm going to be very candid in my videos. That's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do throughout my YouTube career. And I didn't want to get in front of 100,000 people and then say, surprise, I want to correct people. I'm gonna do it all along, and it's not correcting people, it's just correcting some misinformation. On to the video and why we're here. This is going to be focused on beauty. And I showed this in the video with Jeremy just a little bit ago. I brought it on the live feed and everyone went absolutely crazy. This is Russian, and it's around 1880, maybe into 1890, but not by much. I believe that through a little bit of research, it might be PAVEL OVCHINNIKOV, and I don't speak fluent Russian, so I wouldn't know how to pronounce that any other way than, Caucasian American. And so I believe that that is PAVEL OVCHINNIKOV. I think that is his mark. There's the Russian mark and also the fineness of the silver. I did get this for a very good price. I had overpaid at the store. I had overpaid for a lot of the things that I bought. And I always tell people it always kind of works out at the end. So although I overpaid on some things that I sold for very little profit, and some I broke even on, when I have those days, it's things like this that kind of rescue the day. So stay tuned and I'll bring this on, and look at that remarkable glass enamel on sterling silver. And it is a cigarette case. There's the original push button, but look at the condition of this enameling. What a rare survivor not to have major damage on the corners where they're always kind of, bumped up against things. So please stay tuned for me to bring this back on. I absolutely love that piece. And why you're here is for this jewelry chest. And there's a long story behind this, but this is a tiny little French leather covered. I don't want to tip it down too much, but it's got a lot of wear on it. It's got a lot of years of oxidation and a surface that is, looks dusty, but it's not. That's just sun fade on the top of it. But look at this tiny little leather covered jewelry chest from France. And this is completely loaded. So every drawer is completely loaded with jewelry. And what had happened was I got a call several years ago, and the family had said, we do not want to keep these items that had been in the family. They're family heirlooms, and they were circa dating most of the pieces between 1900 and 1918. And as soon as 1900 was mentioned, I sprung into action because I wanted to save these pieces because they are true historic survivors of the Titanic era. And they make me so happy. I love them so much. They're very feminine. They're very delicate. They're incredibly well made. And I focused on some of the finer pieces from that time period in my collection. And this is not all inclusive. I've been collecting Art Nouveau and Edwardian. I like to say more Edwardian than Art Nouveau. I like to focus on that, but both time periods were very parallel in time period. Art Nouveau started a little earlier, 1890, 1895, went through around 1918. Both were running at the same time. Edwardian, more 1900 to 1915, 1900 to 1918, very parallel, running at the same time, and their design aesthetics were very female and very feminine and very delicate, and you'll see that in those examples. So thank you so much for joining in. I do appreciate your time and your attention on my videos. Thank you for your kindness and your love as well. And let's get into the light box and get close up on this amazing box of Art Nouveau and more specifically, Edwardian jewelry. Let's do this. Thank you so much. All right, so you made it safely back into my light box, and my best attempt to keep this video at 30 minutes is probably simply not going to happen, but there may be a continuation of this video. This is the PAVEL OVCHINNIKOV Russian enamel silver cigarette box with the gold wash on the inside, and I just wanted to do a close-up again so you can see the condition of this extraordinary hand-done cloisonné glass enamel across the entire surface. And again, look at those corners holding up so well over, look, the color and the form. So anyways, that's slightly earlier than what we're going to talk about now. Oh, and I did want to, of course, put in a little sales pitch. If you would go over to Bully Run Coffee, please subscribe to Jeremy's channel. He is going to talk about his coffee business, his Viking glass collections, and also videos on us out and about shopping. We are going to have two great sales. One is going to be on this Monday, March 3rd at noon Eastern Standard Time, and a second jewelry sale Tuesday, March 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This one's going to be with Tanya from My Jewelry Addiction. This is going to be Jeremy and I's. This is very costume central, very affordable, very artistic with Tanya, and we always have such a great time and laugh nonstop when we're together. A lot of shenanigans that are going to go on there. We're very excited about that sale. Jeremy is going to do a preview again when when this video airs, Jeremy's going to be doing a preview for this on Saturday, and then he's going to do a preview for the Tuesday sale on Sunday. So you're going to have 2 videos over on Jeremy's for a preview. Both are claim style sales. They're buy it now fixed prices, hosted on Bully Run. And thank you so much for coming over. Please go over and subscribe to Bully Run Coffee. And then also, you have to send over your information to Bully Run Antiques. So if you want to see those videos or how to register for the sales, please go over to Jeremy's. Let's get into what we're here for on Edwardian jewelry. And these 3 boxes were in the top of that little jewelry chest. These are very early boxes, and I love them very much. You will remember this exceptional amethyst brooch from one of my good, better, and best videos from very early on. Look at the size and the quality of that amethyst. It is the deepest and most rich purple you will ever see in an amethyst. Very large, oversized, gigantic amethyst. Look at the way that is cut. That is circa around 1915, 1900. This has been replaced. So the rollover had been replaced. That's a later addition. Does have that fold down bail, so you can wear that as a pendant as well. Look at that construction in solid gold. And again, look how the gold is oxidized. I love showing you these old pieces to say, look, if this wasn't signed gold, gold does oxidize. So if you were to see that at the thrift store and you weren't familiar with the fact that gold oxidizes or will, quote, tarnish from time to time, guess what? You can make a crazy amount of money off of something like that isn't signed gold if that little hallmark wasn't there. So that is like the best version of one of the turn of the century great amethyst brooches. The origin on the amethyst, they're not 100% sure. The ones that I've shown, they don't think. A lot of people have said Serbian. I'm not going to go there in this video. We're not going to talk about the origin of the stone, but in its value, that is the largest and the best. See how that gives that red flash that comes back at you, that deep red. That's the finest amethyst in the whole wide world, and a massive one. That is just absolutely gigantic. And look at that chased border. So when I find things like this, I invest in them so that they're the best that I can afford at a given time. This one will be bringing back to another video because this is going to take a lot of time to discuss the center stone. What exactly are we looking at? Why I brought this on as this mounting. Look at this amazing diamond lace, and this is Edwardian, slightly transitional into Art Deco. So when people see these mountings, they immediately go, well, that's Art Deco. No, no, no. It's around 1915 to 1918. Much more Edwardian. Much more diamond lace. Look at those little tiny bezel set diamonds underneath this regal and royal stone. The charge on this, the love that the past owner had, I feel. I absorb these positive energies when I see such beauty. Look at the way those diamonds gradate up the side with that just little hint of hand engraving. Let's get in on that one more time for all the people who love metalwork. And this is platinum. Look at the thickness of the shank. Look at the way this is constructed. And look at the hand labor of putting those tiny little bezel set diamonds underneath. And those are transitional cut. They go more towards old European cut, but they're slightly transitional into modern brilliant cut. And you all know, because of watching me now for a year, I've talked about the different cuts of diamonds several times. I most certainly will bring on other videos as well. But that I wanted to show as an Edwardian beauty. Finding diamond stud earrings from that time period as a matched pair is virtually impossible. These have always been remounted into other rings or pendants over the years. These are exceptional for very early stud earrings in diamonds. I believe they're almost a full carat per ear. The color of the stones is gorgeous as well. And note that scintillation of, again, those earlier transition cut diamonds between old European cut and modern brilliant, so closely color matched as well. I got very lucky on these. and I bought them for cubic zirconia and sterling silver, and I danced the whole way home. I just was so lucky that day, and this did not come in that estate that I'm going to get into now, so we'll close those up. And of course, I love this old box. So again, I so appreciate you coming in. Let's get these few pieces out of the box to discuss. A few of these pieces you've seen before. Let me line these up in the box. And again, I welcome everyone in who's new to my channel, and to all the people that have subscribed and liked these videos. I so appreciate you very, very much. And I can never thank you enough. Some people say I thank people too much. No, there is no such thing. And to those people, you're probably at the wrong channel. So, you know, that's just the way it works for me. And I am very tired right now, so thanks for bearing with me. This is Austro-Hungarian. I've shown this piece before several times. This is right at 1900. It could potentially span a little bit earlier, but I loved the sensitivity and the grace in this piece. And those are all natural emeralds, natural sapphires, natural pearls, and natural little rubies. And I have always thought that this was so incredibly well made, with that fineness of engraving on the back. These are usually much smaller in scale. They're usually much smaller, and they don't have this complex or large nature. But again, I've shown this before. I don't like to repeat pieces, but for the sake of this video, I had to show this as the sensitivity of design for these pieces that I've so cherished over the years. And I do want to get back to my fancy shows and tells. That's what my channel's been known for, and that's what I want to continue to have. This piece has never been on before, and this did come out of the collection. So this was part of that, the collection that I bought inside of the box, and this was in this box. I did put a little pin through here to hold this pearl in place so that the festoon wouldn't tangle on itself. This is purest Art Nouveau at its best, and slightly transitioning into an Edwardian sensitivity, but this is very Art Nouveau. This would be right around 1900, could be 1905, European cut diamond, 14 and 18 karat gold, and all natural pearls. And what I loved about this is a festoon necklace, meaning these chains are festooned together to create this most beautiful and feminine lace around the neckline. This is just one of the most exceptional that I've seen. This is definitely American. This is not a European version. I do have a European version in my collection, but I don't think I got my hands on it for this specific video. And here is the rest of the chain from behind, so you can kind of see how that is constructed. And I love that easel back of this box. That is the original box that this came in. And what I love about not only being able to find these jewelry pieces is, of course, to find the boxes that these pieces were nestled in when they were presented to a beautiful woman at the turn of the last century. What a rare survivor to have the two pieces together. And I'll let you take that in and look how that diamond speaks to us over 125 years later. This definitely says a gone-by era, a sensitivity that a lot of jewelry doesn't have these days. And I've tried to tell people that's why I focused on antique pieces. It's because they spoke to me in so many ways. I struggle to find the right human words sometimes to explain my sensitivity to appreciating these pieces from a gone-by era that I still relate to and have a very strong connection to. Human words won't explain that, and so I'll never try to do it. This is a bezel set European cut diamond. This is all beautiful knife edge platinum work, so that's considered a knife edge. Look how thin that looks, but it's not. Turn it to the side. That's called a knife edge mounting. Very unusual, but see how that tiny little line? It looks like they're on a thread. They're not. They're on a knife edge mounting. Very strong, very resilient to bending. And look how beautiful that double drop is for this lavalier necklace with these incredible diamonds. Really beautiful. And some people say that's a negligee necklace. I could agree and I could also disagree. But what I'll say is I consider them a lavalier. I always have. And I never correct someone when they say negligee, just because normally negligees have an uneven drop. So there's a slight difference there. But no fighting over it. No reason to. And it's platinum, and I just thought so beautiful. I did show this one in a previous video, but it hasn't been out for a while. And I, again, don't want to ever repeat, but look at this asymmetrically set, platinum topped gold. Very much so Edwardian. The sensitivity to this is just exceptional. And I've always loved that this is asymmetrical and placed on the neck to go around the neck. And look at the scintillation of early diamonds. I've always said that my attraction to any early stones is very apparent in my videos, but specifically very early diamonds have something so much more special than contemporary cut stones, and I think the sensitivity to that crescent moon is amazing. I had always wanted one of those, and those are, again, just very difficult to find. So I show you that version, and this is the more, I don't want to say common version, but this is the more, this is more easily, or more readily available, is what I would say. This is a lavalier from around 1900 to 1910, completely hand-constructed, newer chain. We don't worry about that because, that's what it came on, so I thought, I'll just leave it on there. The bail steps down to this laurel wreath of little leaves. And some people say, well, why don't you consider this Edwardian? Or why don't you consider this Victorian and you consider it Edwardian? Because this is the design aesthetic of those naturalistic leaves. But notice how it's very symmetrical. So it's not Art Nouveau, because Art Nouveau would be whiplash and off-center and very asymmetrical, very Japanese in lines. This is very much so Edwardian. A double drop natural pearl, and then all these little natural, probably Mississippi River pearls. And I am going to do a video on my Mississippi River pearls because, again, I believe in thorough education of when I use a term to back it up with accurate information. These are Edwardian diamond platinum topped gold earrings. Very, very, very hard to find. I think why is most of the time one earring was lost over time, and then what are you going to do with the other earring but remount the stones? And you have to remember, jewelry back then was for the, it was very wealthy. The most wealthy of people had something that looked like this. So platinum topped gold, and they do have French marks on the earrings on the back here. And again, was heirloom and inherited, and they just did not want to keep this jewelry collection. So I said to myself, I have to stand between this collection and certain peril with being melted down and having stones being taken out of pieces. And I was so glad to be able to do it. This is exceptional. Certain pieces I will never sell. There are certain pieces that stay with me forever, and this would be one of them. I have shown this a long time ago. This will definitely stay in my collection forever. These are diamonds in 14 karat gold, and these are all natural pearls. So these are natural out of, out of the sea, not color treated, and not cultured. So uncultured natural pearls. Seeing that array of colors and the way this was treated to make sure that these pearls were technically the most important part of the design, that leading up to this tendril that's loaded with those ocean jewels is something that, again, I don't like to over speak the design because I think a lot of times human words can ruin beauty in jewelry. So I'll let you take that in. And that is a slide. So likely on a velvet ribbon around the neck and likely worn in that direction. So the velvet ribbon would run through the piece and be tied upon the neck of that incredibly lucky lady at 1900. Again, very asymmetrical. A bridge between clear Art Nouveau and getting into Edwardian. So, could you fight and say this is only Art Nouveau? You could. Do I consider it both? I do. I consider it a transitional piece. So, and again, jewelry historians are constantly learning new things. This is amethyst and sterling silver. And when I show you this version is, when I find something that I love, I commit it to the collection, and then I usually live with it for a while, and then if I find a better version, then I let the lesser version go. That's the natural elevation or the natural progression of a collector in being an advanced collector. However, I decided to keep both of these. So this is sterling silver amethyst around 1915 on this one, getting into 1918 time period. Completely hand constructed, absolutely gorgeous. This is Tiffany, 18 karat gold, and absolutely exceptional for a Tiffany necklace. And I'd shown this before in one of my past videos, and it's been a long time. I think it was well over a year ago. If you haven't seen some of these pieces and you're saying, oh, he's going too quick, please go to my past videos and please watch the process of how I've tried to educate and how I've tried to share with all of you. This is clearly marked right down here in the smallest of font, Tiffany and Company. Absolutely exceptional. The stones are the best of its kind, and that scrolled top was thought to be by Louis Comfort Tiffany. Again, we have the original chain. I did tie it into the box to make sure it didn't move. Look at that red and blue flash of those imperial and absolutely stunning amethysts. You know that you're in the presence of greatness when you see a stone like that. This necklace was sold to me for $125 at an estate sale, and I'm going on memory here. $125. This one was sold to me for $165. And you know that the values, this is like, maybe $285, and this one is in the vicinity of $5,000 to $7,000. It could potentially go for more. When you get into these pieces that are top of their class, price is no object to the most advanced collectors. So from $125, to $5,000 to $7,000, I've had a really good life doing this. And I always say, you never know what you'll find out in the world. And let me show you, they're both beautiful for two different reasons. This is just exquisite and will stay with me as well. So I love this one. I love this one almost as much as this one, and other collectors would say I'm crazy, but judgment of others never really bothered me. Let's face it. So this one, and then we only have one more drawer to go, and we'll say that's it. Oh, I don't think I've ever shown this one on my channel either, so I got a smile when I opened that box, and this is a genuine opal. And I will bring this back for my opal video, and we'll talk about origin. Should we say Australia? We'll say, let's wait for the other video. So, crystal opal. What I loved about this was that what do I say? The frame was all about the stone, and the stone was all about the frame in a way. So that kind of really royal and regal Edwardian style of this secondary drop that then articulates off of that central pendant. Very sensual, very female, very beautiful. This would be around 1910. Could you say circa 1900? In an auction catalog, absolutely yes. Would anyone fight with that? Absolutely no. And if they did, they're out to lunch. But this is 14 karat gold, and look how that opal. I think I put this in a short feed, but I don't think I've ever brought this. I don't think I've ever brought this to a full-length video. And if I have, please forgive me because they're all running together at this point. But I would say value on something like that, because of the size and the quality of the opal, you're into several thousand. $2,500 to $3,500 would not be out of the question. And on the coast, it's probably more like, $4,500 to $5,500. So that gives you kind of a feeling for some of these pieces that are, should you say, more exceptional than, you can find a smaller version, but, and you can probably find a much larger version as well. For an unusual ring of the time period, this is an ancient Egyptian scarab. And it has been certified as such. We're not going to talk about the scarab, but we are going to talk about this whiplash border. Very much so Art Nouveau, but then classic bezel set and cut down collet set European cut diamonds. So again, a marriage of very early into Art Nouveau and then clearly some Edwardian influence. So that Titanic era that I simply couldn't avoid. I have shown this before. And as the traffic increases on my street so late at night, if you do hear the traffic in the background, there's not much I can do about it because I am in the studio apartment, as most of you know. And this is Edwardian as well. So these are paste stones and sterling silver, and this did come in the collection as well. And it is from Germany, and solid silver. And I love that early, kind of early mechanism here to unlock and then to let this open. As I struggle to do it, I don't know why. My hands are not working because it's so late. So you open the little lock and then you undo it. Then you put it back in and put the lock back down. As I continue to struggle, I swear I need blooper reels for some of my videos. So that is paste stones and sterling silver. Really remarkably done. Absolutely naturalistic. So you can see that kind of blurred line between Art Nouveau and Edwardian. And again, some people would say immediately, oh, this is Art Nouveau. Yeah, and it's also transitional. So this I bought for $68, and I think I got it for $48. It is French, and it is one of the most exceptional enameled. Look at the opalescent blue into that green, the little garnet eye, and then those paste stones again, which are just leaded glass. Leaded crystal. And we open it this way and we get into there. There's the depose mark. There's the maker's mark. I used to know who this is, and of course I've forgotten. But I got this with, I bought this with Jeremy down in, I think this was, as I struggled to get that closed again, I think this was in, I'd have to ask him, but I think this was in Barnesville, Ohio, I do believe. And as soon as I saw it, I said, it's coming home with me. That is exceptional. Years ago, I did lose out on such a such a brooch. Now, I will be honest and fully transparent and tell you, I have a great problem with buying Edwardian rings. And the turn of the century, 1900 to 1915, I have a major problem buying these. I just love them. This one's 18 karat gold and a beautiful European cut stone. You can see the large culet down in there, that kind of swollen crown. See, it's like a piece of candy. That crown sticks way up, and then the table's really small. So you know that that is a European cut stone. A lot of people confuse that and say, that's a mine cut stone. And I go, well, I'm not going to fight with you, but I'm going to correct you gently and say that's not a mine cut stone. That is a European cut diamond all day long. So it has a very small table, a very large crown, so it's very meaty up top, and has a very deep pavilion. The stone goes very deep in that mounting, so it's got a very big, base to it. These stones weigh more than they optically look. So that's probably optically a 35 or 40 point diamond. It probably weighs closer to a half a carat, because see how it sticks up? See how that's so up and thick at the top. Normally diamonds don't look like that. Little faux sapphire accents on each side and that filigree. But isn't that absolutely beautiful? Please leave in the comments if you understand my attraction to this time period. At 32 minutes, and people always say, why do you watch the time of your videos? Well, because right now, when I'm recording this, it's about 10:45 at night. I am tired and I do need to go to bed and take care of myself. This one's 18 karat gold. I loved this bow design, but look, there's a little heart with a tiny little diamond. That swollen kind of balloon-like mounting and filigree. That is a fancy colored diamond, and it leans a pinkish brown. So is that from the Argyle mine? I'm not sure because I wasn't there 100 years ago. And what I loved about the sensitivity is look how feminine and beautiful. Very timeless. And look at how it's held up over the years. How absolutely beautiful that is. And then we have this one. This is a very special ring to me. I won't get into the specifics. This is platinum, and that is another European cut diamond. You can see that kind of black little spot down in the middle. That black little spot is the culet, and it's an open culet. It's what they call a open culet. And that is a facet at the very tip of the back of the stone where the pavilion comes to the point. They cut that off flat. And that creates that little, what I've always called a belly button in the stone. And I'm sure there's like so many people cringing, going, don't call that a belly button in a stone. You can't stop me. I already did. So this has been with me a long time. And I used to wear that on this hand all the time. And now it fits down here on this finger. So now it fits down here on that. And, you know, I already have a rose, so I can't really squeeze another one on today, even though I want to. So the final round of Jason's advanced show and tell tonight, and then I will call this. This is very special because this did come in the collection, and I put it in this case to protect it. I've never shown this on the channel either. I'll say that in the holdings of Edwardian and Art Nouveau jewelry from the turn of the century and the rare Titanic era survivors, there's such a charge on these pieces, and there's such a love. And when I get around them, I feel the previous owners, and I feel a connection to our past. There's no other way to explain it. And this necklace has always kind of brought me back to those times and the beauty that these pieces still exude, you know, 125, 135 years later. This is solid 14 karat gold. It is another festoon. See how all these chains, all these gold chains come to that central medallion? And then look at that enameled flower with these natural pearls again, and the pearl drop. All the original chain is behind, and that's the original clasp on it as well. So I wanted to protect this, and it was just floating around in the box, and enamel is so fragile. And I was just so surprised that 90% of the enamel was still there, still intact, still beautiful, and still telling its story of its past owner 125 to 135 years later. And I do let these pieces communicate of a gone by era of absolute beauty, femininity, naturalistic elements, and my affection for that. I don't know what else to say, but I leave you with that tonight. And I thank you so much for joining in. I do believe this will air on Saturday, which is tomorrow. I have to hurry up and do a thumbnail and then hurry up and go to bed. But I do want to be with all of you. Thank you so much for all of your support. Please go forward on this Saturday with peace and kindness. Please come over and check out Bully Run and our 2 sales. Even if you don't participate, we would be honored to have you there. We really do appreciate all the support. So from me to all of you, have a amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining in. And you know how I end it because it's 100% true. I can't say it enough. I love you because I do.